All right, Angela, thank you so much for joining us on the Mommy Pod. We are so happy to have you with us today. Can you share a little bit about yourself and your journey as a single mother by choice, and a little bit of what inspired you to create a single mother by choice, a journal for solo moms?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really excited to join the Mommy Pod squad. Anyway, I am, as you noted, a proud single mother by choice, and I am an experienced international social impact nonprofit and HR leader and consultant. I have over 25 years of expertise in leadership and programmatic development, and organizational strategy, women's empowerment, diversity, equity, and inclusion. The vast majority of my life I've dedicated to helping diverse communities advance, integrate, and thrive. Um, what inspired me to write my journal was all the questions that came up for me in the process of considering and then becoming a single mother by choice. You know, when you're in coupledom and you're reflecting to have a child in coupledom, I imagine that there are lots of conversations that go on in that context, and you have someone that kind of mirrors you in terms of whatever concerns you might have or questions that arise within yourself, right? And I created my journal as a way to foster an inclusive and empowering community, like fostering that inclusive and empowering space for women, while also giving them a space to reflect on their journey as solo mothers by choice, celebrate it, navigate the challenges, watch themselves grow through the different reflections. Because, there's comfort in paper. I told that to someone today. And like when you're writing in your journal, you're capturing parts of your truth. And that truth may be your truth today, but it won't necessarily be your truth 3 days from now, 5 years from now. So kind of it's also a space to see yourself evolve, not only in your motherhood, but in your womanhood and personhood as well. Hello?
I'm sorry, I love that. I muted myself
I'm
so
sorry.
that any background noise wouldn't be distracting, and then I was taking notes of what you were saying. I love that you can find comfort in paper and that capturing parts of your truth in the moment, you are capturing who you are at that time, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's who you're going to be later. I love that.
Yeah, it's haven't you found that as a mom? Like I know that so I'll use my son as an example, right? When my son was, I had this idea that I was going to have this little boy that was like super nerdy looking, like that was super neat. That I was like I was always he was gonna even look like nerdy looking, not only in the like, but tidy, kind of Urkelish, honestly. Like it's
Mhm.
terribly same kind of Urkelish. And my son is his own person,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And like And I think part of it was I wasn't very attached to that vision, right? That I allowed him to surprise me with whom he is. And that like it's better to not to go into the process without any major expectations.
Yes.
Because that way, you adapt and you allow yourself to be surprised by how wonderful the reality is versus what you thought it would be.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I haven't experienced I did not experience that with my son so much because I don't know, maybe because he was my first and I was just a little excited and nervous and overwhelmed and all the feelings that you feel as a mom. So I didn't have any preconceived expectations of what he would be like or what I would be like
Mhm.
with him. But with my daughter, I thought, oh my gosh, she's gonna be in the cutest ruffles all the time. She's gonna, be so prissy and I'm gonna be matching her. And now I realize like we are in survival mode. She wears her brother's hand-me-downs. Um, and, and she prefers it. She does not like
Yeah.
ruffles so much. But now, as she's getting older, she's 2 now, she is getting into the ruffles and she loves to look cute. So
Mhm.
they do change a little their little personalities. They're going to be who they want to be, and we just have to go with it and make sure they don't hurt themselves.
Exactly. That's it. Like we're guardrails.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. What do you think are some of the unique challenges that single mothers, um, by choice, face compared to other mothers who, well, I don't know if that's a fair question to ask. What do you think are the most unique challenges that single mothers face?
Well, I think that one thing is, like if you're, and this is my assumption, right? But like if you're a single mother in a healthy co-parenting relationship, you have like that there is a time that'll be just you,
Hmm.
right? I don't have that time. I mean, like I can plan for time like that because I'm fortunate and I have my family close by or whatever. But I'm a mom, like I can't. So let's talk about dating, for instance, right? So
Hmm.
like some guys have this expectation they're gonna roll up by your house and be like, yo, let's go have a cup of coffee. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like I have to plan. Planning is an essential part of my life. I don't have the privilege of being like, I'm just a mom these days because these other days he's hanging out. I'm like, I'm not an on mom because he's hanging out with like his dad. No, like it's always me. I think that's a unique challenge. I think the challenge of kind of what I was telling you about not having someone to reflect on things with on a day-to-day basis, the way you might as when you're in a partnered parentship. I just made up a term. Anyway, but like that might be something that comes up.
Right.
If that's one of the reasons that like I developed the journal. Obviously like the challenge of like doing it all
Right.
because we do it all as women anyway. Single moms do it all.
Mhm.
But single moms by choice just do it all the time.
Right. Um, oh, that hit me, not having someone to share things with. Because we do co-parent, but
Hmm.
we co-parent from a distance, I guess. So
Yeah.
we talk about just what the kids need, and we do pick up on drop-offs, and that's it. But it would be really nice to be able to, like today, I sent him a message because I wanted to share that our daughter started preschool today and how excited she was. So I sent him a picture of how happy and
Yeah.
excited she was. So it's nice to do that. And I guess I was gonna say that I don't get that in return, but I shouldn't say that because he has started to do that. Like last week, he sent me some photos of them at gymnastics. So, but yeah, it would be nice to have someone in the moment to be like, oh, our kids are so cute. They're doing it. So I like the idea of writing it in a journal because then you can share it with yourself. And then when the kids get older, they can see it.
And that's the other thing. Like the journal could be a keepsake one day, right? Like I'm like one day when I'm no lo when like I'm no longer around, maybe the things that I've captured about this journey will kind of I hope my son never has any doubts about how wanted he is and how wanted he was and what but if there's ever any point, for him to always have this resource for him where it's like I have insight into my mom
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't have when I was little, right? Because the insight that you put into your journal is your reflection in.
Right.
When our kids, they just might see us in the day to day of like surviving.
Right. Oh my goodness. Are there specific rewards or moments of joy that stand out to you as being on this unique path?
Well, you mentioned something about having something to share it with, someone to share it with, when you were talking about how that hit you. One
Mhm.
thing that I do think is an advantage that single moms by choice have, and I just want to go back to it, is that, I'm rearing my son the way I feel fit. I'm doing the best that I can do, and at that same time, like I am not, I don't have to deal with anyone else.
Mhm.
And for me, that was kind of like the standard in relationships where I contemplated having a child with someone was like, if this relationship goes to hell, will I be able to will it be healthy for me and a child if I have a child, right? So in that sense, that's an advantage that I have, I think, and that single mothers by choice have, we make the rules.
Yes, that's nice. That is nice to not have to debate it with someone or talk it over. And yes.
Yeah, or like if I want to move, I can just get up and move, right? Like I don't have
Yeah.
to worry about someone else giving, or we want to travel. Oh, we're going somewhere. Well, we're just doing it. You know what I mean? And I think
Mhm.
that that's a distinct advantage that we have. And I jumped away from your question, and I am so sorry. Can you ask it again? Because then I went on that other like that other tangent.
Oh, it's okay. I just asked some specific rewards or moments of joy that stand out to you on this path because we can write it down. So are there any moments that you've maybe written down in your journal that stand out?
So
That
I think that one moment that will always stand out, we all have our stories of how our babies were born, right?
Mhm.
And I think that one moment that kind of illustrates what I hope is going to be the rest of my life with my son is when he was born. Because so the, you know, the, um, the doctor, my OB/GYN was like, Angela, push. And I was like, okay. She's like, you're not pushing hard enough. And I was like, okay. She's like, get angry. And I was like, she's like, use your rage. And my mom even mentioned like someone that would make me mad because my mother was with me in like the birthing room. And I was like, I don't have that kind of nasty rage inside of me that would lead me to like push harder. And then all of a sudden, I thought, so I had prior to being, in intense labor, had gone to the bathroom. And I'm sorry, this may be a little like, you can delete this if you feel you need to delete this. But then I was sitting there, right? And I was like, when I was in labor, I told I had my OB/GYN, and then there was I don't know, a mid-husband instead of a midwife. I don't know what you call it, but he was a dude that was doing midwife labors. And I looked at him and I said, Alberto, I'm so glad that I went to the bathroom before because now I'm not going to be embarrassed in front of you. Like, because when you're in labor, you poop.
Yeah.
So I started to laugh. I started to laugh really hard. And when I laugh really hard, I feel like all my strength leaves from my mouth. And I told the doctor, I am so sorry I can't push. Like all my strength is going out through my mouth. And she's like, no, Uncle, keep laughing. And my son was born and I was laughing.
Oh my gosh, how special.
And I mean, I think that that's also like the kind of, I'm getting emotional. Like that's the life that I want to offer him. Like I want to offer him a life where there he is surrounded by laughter.
Yeah. Oh wow, that is beautiful.
Thank you. I got all teary-eyed. I'm glad we don't have camera on.
Me too. I'm like getting teary-eyed too. Oh my gosh. That is so special. Oh my goodness. I mean, I haven't heard a birth story like that. Laughing. What
And I
joy.
was really like, I was like all over the place. I was like, ha ha ha. And then they put him on top of me. And some people, some women cry.
Mhm.
And when I looked at him, I was so happy, right? That I just kept laughing. And then like the laughter turned into tears, but it wasn't like it was laughter, like when you go kind of crazy laughing, that's what it was like.
That is awesome. So awesome. Let's see. What advice would you give to someone who is considering becoming a single mom by choice, but they're unsure of, taking that leap?
I would say to trust yourself. Like I'm a person that believes that we don't get I believe that all our ideas are from divine inspiration, whatever you consider the divine to be, right?
Mhm.
And if you feel something in your heart enough, and you know that so when I decided to have my son, I decided to have him because I wanted to love him. Like not because of anything else, right? Not because it's not because I was lonely, it's not because no, it's because I wanted to love a little person and you know, bring someone up in that love into the world.
Yes.
Um, I think that it's important for women that are considering becoming single mothers by choice to trust themselves, to know that it will not always be easy, that we will not have all the answers, but that we've got it. And that we will, like, we are the mothers our children need. We will know our children better than anyone else knows them. And for a long time, better than they know themselves. Although hopefully, as they evolve and mature, right, we'll give them the tools so that they really truly know themselves and they are their own internal north. But
Yes.
with that, like for me, it's to know that, like, even on the days where you don't feel like you're quite the mother your child needs, know that you are becoming that person as long as you are self-aware and open to learning from someone that's been in this world far less time than you have, but is probably going to be your greatest teacher.
Yes. That's great. That's great advice. They really are such good teachers. My favorite thing to do on the weekends is nothing. But when I have my kids, I love to just go on walks or just sit with them and talk.
Hmm.
My son, he'll just talk about any and everything, and I love it.
And like, don't you feel like at least for me, it's like a process of rediscovery. You rediscover everything through them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're so loving and they see things in a different light. And so his dad has a girlfriend, and I have
Hmm.
not met this girlfriend yet, so I'm kind of like upset about that. But anyways, I digress. Um, and he said to me, "She is really good to your babies." And I said, "Okay, Jace, thank you. That is all I need to know, is that this person is good to my babies." So why?
That's very powerful, actually. And it's very powerful that you were so open to like receive that.
Yes. Yeah.
That says a whole lot about the relationship that you have with your children because like the response is one of non-threatened, like that you were not threatened by that, right? And I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I didn't think about it like that. Yeah. We try to do what we can. I try to keep my opinions and how I feel to myself, and you just put what's best for our kids first. As a solo mom, how have you managed to balance your career ambitions with the responsibilities of motherhood? Because I know it's really hard being a mom and balancing your career at the same time.
So one thing that I was very intentional about was I was very intentional about knowing that I was going to slow down
Mhm.
because I want to be able to enjoy my son while he wants to hang out with me.
Mhm.
Um, because like there's gonna be a time where I'm not cool anymore.
I
Uh,
know.
so that means that, when he was, I took a sabbatical from everything. I've worked on projects on the down low, like for myself.
Mhm.
Um, and then now that he's in school, I'm like turboing it on everything because I was naturally a person prior to having my son that had 5 or 6 projects all going on at the same time. Like I've served on boards and commissions, been the executive director of a nonprofit, like had other things going on, done consulting, everything at the same time. And then all of a sudden it was like, slow down. And
Oh.
now that he's in school, like I'm moving strongly ahead with the projects that I'd been working on for myself, little by little, like kind of prepping them. They were kind of like in an incubation period as well.
Hmm. That's great. But I think it's important for, if you can, to take that time to slow down and be with your kids. I had mine during COVID.
Hmm.
I got like, what was that, a year, 2 years with him, just him and and I'd go to work, but I'd work from home. So I'd go down and work and then I'd come back and be with him. It was great. And then my daughter, I was out on disability. So I got to be out with her um for quite some time until she was maybe a little over one. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, it's really nice to take that time if you can to just be with your kids and watch them grow and just have all those baby snuggles.
absolutely. Like, and don't, the thing that I notice is like, I spent a lot of time with him and I don't ever remember him as he was like when he was teeny tiny. And I'll look at pictures that I have, like my stepdad who he's like grandpa extraordinaire to my grandson, to his grandson. He has tons of videos of him and he'll send me videos and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even remember him when he was that little. Because like it's just that's the messed up thing, right? That you remember them in their most recent iteration to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I always look at um old pictures and videos. I don't know why. They're just so cute and they're just so sweet and I just love watching them grow.
Well, and I think that the other thing is like it reminds you, right? That these are just that they're little children. It's very easy to like see them grow and to automatically like project them into this future when they're really just little kids that are figuring out of the world, like in the scheme of how long they might live, up like 100, 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds, they're babies.
They really are. I want to go get my kids from school. Oh my gosh. Have there been any specific strategies or routines that help you um stay on top of your career growth and parenting? I know that you said you had some in the incubator, and so now that he's in school, you can focus on those a little bit more.
Yeah, that's basically what. So now he's in school from like 9 to 3. So when he's in school, like I hustle on the things that I have to hustle. My strategy is that when I'm with him, I try to be as present as possible. Um, knowing that sometimes things come up and like you have to balance. I'm fortunate in that I have my parents live in the same building that I live in. So for instance, right now he's with his grandmother. I think she's actually giving him a bath. Um, and I think that it's about and then streamlining things as much as possible and not letting perfect get in the way of good enough.
Hmm.
Like professionally perfect getting in the way of good enough might be like this isn't perfect, but I'm just going to like sometimes you can get caught in like trying to refine something too much. And then you just delay it unnecessarily. Sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and say, okay, this is as good as I can get right now, done.
Yeah.
In like the personal sense, it might be that like Halloween's around the corner and I have a basic idea of what he's wearing for Halloween, but we're gonna really improvise a lot of that on in the morning, right
Right.
before he goes to school.
Hmm. That's what we're doing. That is what we are doing this week. This week is Spirit Week for my kids. Um, and yeah, each day is something different and it's it's a lot.
And
But we
you
keep
know you just have to roll with it, right? Like you roll with it.
right. Today was wacky tacky, so that's great. We could just grab things and throw them on.
That must have been cute.
Oh yeah, it was. I'll have to send you a picture.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Let's see what else can we get. I feel like you've got such great advice for mo us moms. I feel like I need to find some better questions. Uh, Building a strong support system. We talked about that and how you have your family around you, right?
Yeah, I think also it's about like resourcing yourself with people that so my son doesn't have a father. He's got in his grandfather he has a father figure, but also like I have very good guy friends that like I've surrounded him with
Mm-hmm.
that are models of manhood that I think are good. So I think that it's about because I will teach him how to be a good person, God willing, right? But he'll learn to be a man from watching other men.
Right.
So for me it's about, finding your tribe, like those friends that are family, those people that like whether they're far away or close by, they're not only looking out for you, but they're looking out for your little one too.
Yes. how would you, for anybody that feels isolated or uncertain of where to turn, what would you suggest to finding those first steps to creating a meaningful support network?
Well, like if you're single mother by choice, there's actually this girl who just started, who has this platform called, they're called single mom pods, single mom by choice pods, I think. I can send you the link to it. And basically what it's their communities. So in your community, you can find your pod of single moms by choice and connect to that. I think that, the online is great because it's at a finger's touch, right? And you can find single mother by choice communities there. You can join Meetup. There are groups for parents on Meetup. I think it's about, even your faith community. Like if you're a person of faith that goes to church frequently, that might be somewhere where you find community as well. I think that it's often also about moving out of what your comfort zone is. So it is very uncomfortable to into a room or move into a space where you don't know anyone for a bunch of reasons, right? And I think it's about realizing that, what is it, that Neil Donald Walsh, he has this very famous saying that I think it's that magic happens at the end of your comfort zone. So keeping that in mind, keeping in mind that at the point where we decided to become mothers and single mothers by choice, we moved out of our comfort zone because at that point you realize there are tons of variables, including time, that will never be completely yours to manage again. And that with that, right, like in that discomfort, there is growth, and in that growth, there is room for wonderful things to happen and to learn more about yourself
Right.
through exposing yourself to other circumstances and through the eyes of others as well.
Hmm, that's good. That's good advice. And I did not know that there were single mom pods because I was looking, I tried to do my research when I started this mommy pod because the idea is I would love to have pods where we can meet up and get together. So I'll have to look into this.
Actually, I can connect you. I'll send you an email. I think we met through Facebook, right? So I'll send you a Facebook email with a message with the name of the girl. She's actually in Australia. So this is something that she started in Australia. But that so you can connect with her because I think her initiative is really, really awesome.
Great. That's fantastic. I would love that. Okay, what about so society often has preconceived notions about what it means to be a single mother by choice. What are some of the most common misconceptions that you've encountered?
Well, like there's a whole misconception that like you hate men, and that's why you don't want to have a child with a man.
Mhm.
That you're, that it's that I think so like that's one misconception, but then the other misconception or the other is like there are lots of gender-based judgments around being a single mother by choice, right? Like the idea that children must have a father. No, children don't really like it's been proven by the American Psychological Association. What children need is they need good, constant figures that provide them security, safety, and love.
Mhm.
And if children have that, they will thrive. I think it's part of redefining what family looks like outside of that traditional family that for many people has been really toxic.
Right. We didn't I think in our last talk when I did not record it, you had a beautiful story to tell us about how you made the choice to be a mom. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, so I'm not sure what story it is, but let's try was it about like when so I miscarried when I was 23. No, I'm sorry, 2024. Then I miscarried again when I was 36. And at one point I decided that um I wanted to have a child. I was with someone at that point. The relationship wasn't going where it needed to go, and I decided that I was going to pursue single motherhood on my own anyway.
Good for you.
And that was right before I did this on December 12th. That was my first appointment with the with the doctor, the reproductive specialist I went to see. It was on December 12th, 2019.
Wow.
And then I was actually supposed to start treatment, for IVF on March 14th of 2020, but that's when like the world started to go into lockdown.
Hmm.
So then I actually started IVF in June of that year. And one of the things that I focused on during my pregnancy was on kind of um, insulating myself
Hmm.
from anything that would be negative or upsetting to me or any drama. So like it was like loving my son was what I needed to love myself more and start really establishing healthy boundaries around myself. Because having worked in a mental health facility where like you learn about vicarious trauma and you learn about like pre-uterine memory and things like that, I was wanted to be very aware of the fact that, everything is a part of him. And I was his house.
Hmm.
And I think for me, that was the one thing that I focused a lot on, right? Like that I am somebody's house. And I will tell you, I didn't tell you the last time, but so I'm a person that when I was for a long time, I had an eating disorder. So I've always had body issues. And it was getting pregnant with my son that kind of changed that.
Oh, yeah. She was,
Because like I said, like my body was his house and it was doing what it had to do.
it's so beautiful how many ways our children can save us.
Exactly. Like, because you see yourself get bigger and I'm like, you're like, and at another point in my life, if it had been for something else, like I would have probably lost it, right? But I was like, no, because this is his house.
Hmm.
And I'm taking care of me and I'm taking care of him and I'm taking care of my body and I'm taking care of my mental health and I'm taking care of the energy that surrounds me because honestly, when they're inside of us, it's the most protected that they'll ever be.
Right. With my daughter, I didn't want to, I mean, I wanted to have her, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to leave the hospital. And there was so much going on personally and with her father that I just wanted to have peaceful time with her.
Hmm.
So we can't keep them in our body, but I get that wanting to keep them protected and safe and happy as long as we can. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I think that's part of what our that's our purpose, right? Like our purpose is to do that for them and to then also like guide them
Hmm.
to the best version of themselves, whatever that is.
Yeah. Well, I definitely would love to have another conversation. There's so many things that I feel like we could touch on, and there's so many more questions that I have for you, especially as we talk more. So maybe if you are available, we can set up another time to do a part two.
I'd love that anytime. I've actually loved getting to know you a little bit through this process.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love how you talk about energy and positive energy and like how you said something earlier. I should have written it down, but I was like, oh yeah. So I just want to ask you more questions about that. And I think that you'd be a good person to ask about how to get grounded and um yeah. So I will send you an email and ask you more. But where can our listeners find your journal and connect with you online?
So, listeners can connect with me online at a single mother by choice on Instagram. And then my journal, they can find it on Amazon or through www.asinglemotherbychoice.com.
Awesome. Angela, thank you so much. We uh have enjoyed listening to you and thank you for sharing your story with us. As we wrap up, is there one key takeaway piece of advice that you hope our listeners will remember?
I this is actually what I put at the end of my journal. If you don't mind, I'll read it real quick.
Of course.
And it's that let me forward here. I'm looking for it the last minute. I wasn't ready for this. It's kind of here it is. It says at the end of my journal, I say you and your children are on a path of mutual discovery and rediscovery. Cliche as it is, it's 100% true. The days go slow, but the years go oh so very fast. Enjoy every moment, even the hard ones. Feel it all. Laugh, love, dream big, keep the faith, be present. Relish the noise and savor the silence too. Don't sweat the small stuff. Let the highs get you through the lows. And above all, remember, you are the mother your child needs.
It's beautiful. That's a beautiful reminder for us moms to read at the end of journaling. That's really great. I'm going to put the link to your journal in our show notes so that anyone listening can find your journal. And yeah, thank you so much. I'll send you an email too to see when we can link again and some other like topics that we can talk about.
Awesome. Thank
Uh,
you so much. I've loved spending time with you and your audience.
of course, thank you. Come back again.
Absolutely. Anytime. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.